Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao and this is One News Now. COVID-19 cases in the Philippines are still on the up. Just today, over 1,500 new infections were added. Nearly 1,000 of those are fresh, while more than 500 were reported late. The case tally in the country is now inching towards the 46,000 mark. 48,000 mark, rather. 6 more people lost the battle to COVID-19 overnight, and that pushes the death toll to over 1,300. Some 200 patients, meanwhile, recovered in the past 24 hours. So far, more than 12,300 patients have gotten better from the disease. And with that, the country stays on the second spot in Southeast Asia's COVID-19 tally, according to Johns Hopkins University. Earlier today, Malacanang acknowledged the position of the Philippines as number 2 on the list, but spokesperson Harry Roque stood by his claim that we are winning the fight against the virus. Roque said the country's case doubling rate has plateaued and there are still enough care facilities for infected patients.
So I will always say we are winning against COVID-19. Siguro po dun sa mga ayaw maniwalang nananalo tayo, sige po, kasa sa inyong mga personal na paninindigan, tanggapin niyo po yon.
Meanwhile, the Health Department apologized for mistakenly identifying COVID-19 hotspots in Metro Manila. And these are Marikina, Muntinlupa, Makati, and Quezon City. The DOH says it was referring to old data and clarified that in fact, these areas are now showing a significant decline in case growth. And as expected, commuters are struggling today after the MRT3 suspended operations after rising infections among personnel. To tell us more about that, we have Greg Gregorio joining us live from Ortigas. Greg, how is the commute like for the usual MRT passengers today?
Sean, commuters endured long lines for augmented bus units on the first day of the MRT3's suspended operations. And with the 198 MRT3 personnel testing positive for COVID-19, the Transportation Department is now coordinating with the Health Department for the conduct of contact tracing. MRT3's frequent passengers had no choice but to take the bus augmentation service in absence of the rail line's train operation. The normal short wait for buses now took at least 30 minutes.
Hindi, kasi alam ko hindi mahaba pila dito. Dati kasi walang pila dito sa P2.
So ngayon, late na kayo.
Oo nga.
The MRT3 bus augmentation currently has 90 units plying North Avenue to Taft Avenue with a 3-minute interval in each of the 6 designated bus stops. Passengers may also opt for the 190 buses, which makes use of all the operational bus stops from Monumento to PITX. The MMDA appealed to commuters to use existing stairways in MRT stations or the footbridges linked to bus stops. 5 traffic constables man every operating bus stops to prevent pedestrian crossing. Some of the bus stops, though, have yet to be completed.
Yung inaantay po natin sa bus stop ay yung completion ng mga concrete barriers. We are still in need of 36,000. Every week po may dumadating na 1,000. Gradually ho ang magiging pagbukas.
The MRT3 management followed the IATF's recommendation to suspending operations for 5 days due to the rising COVID-19 cases among its employees. The DOTR reported 198 COVID-19 cases among MRT personnel as of yesterday, 177 of which are from the MRT depot, 16 are station employees, and 5 other personnel. The DOTR is now working with the DOH for contact tracing.
Ang advice atin ng DOH is to announce. Kami ay naglalabas ng mga press statements at ng mga anunsyo upang yung ating mga pasahero na gumamit ng ticket sellers natin dito sa mga stasyon na to ay mag-obserba ng kanilang simptomas at kung magkaroon ng simptomas ay pumunta sa kinukulang health centers nila.
Transportation authorities are also working on the immediate possible implementation of contact tracing measures through a mobile app on railways and other transportation sectors. Sean, the 5-day suspension until July 11 will give way to the disinfection of MRT3 facilities as well as the RT-PCR testing of all its personnel. However, Transportation Assistant Secretary Goddess Libiran said that the suspension may still be extended depending on the results of the personnel's PCR test and if they will already have enough employees to run the limited operations of the MRT3. Sean?
Right, thank you very much for that update. Greg Gregorio joining us live today from Ortigas. And it's not only in the MRT. More than 900 uniformed personnel from the Philippine National Police also contracted the virus. The PNP reported 6 new COVID-19 cases within their ranks, bringing the police force's case count to 905. 9 of them succumbed to COVID-19, while 418 recovered. The law enforcement agency also listed some 684 probable cases and 1,238 suspected cases of COVID-19 among their personnel. And the IATF, or Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases, has lifted restrictions on non-essential travel abroad for Filipinos. There will still be restrictions, though, including mandatory travel health insurance. Travelers must also present confirmed round-trip tickets and sign a declaration acknowledging the risks of travel. Medical practitioners, however, will still not be permitted to fly overseas.
Hindi po, kasi hindi po napaprocess pa rin ng POEA ang mga papeles ng mga nurses intending to work abroad. No?
We're going to pause for a quick break, but we will be back with more news after that. Keep it here on One News. Good evening, I'm Sean Yao, and you're still watching One News Now. The Justice Department condemns the ambush of a Manila prosecutor who was gunned down on his way to City Hall on Tuesday. To give us updates, we have Marlene Alcaide reporting to us live from Manila. Marlene, is there already any possible motive that authorities are looking for that could be, behind this attack?
Sean, an area in Paco, Manila was closed off just before noon on Tuesday, shortly after the killing of Manila's chief inquest prosecutor. This CCTV footage shows a red car slowly moving in front of a vehicle carrying Manila Chief Inquest Prosecutor Jovencio Senados. They were traversing Quirino Highway, corner Anak Bayan in Paco, Manila, when a black SUV approached the right side of the car. A few seconds later, an unidentified man aboard the black SUV shot 62-year-old Senados, who was sitting at vehicle's passenger side.
Dead on the spot yung biktima. Mga bumarel ay nakasakay sa isang SUV na black na may plate number na Alpha Bravo Gold.
Passersby said they heard 5 to 6 gunshots. The fiscal's personal driver did not sustain any injury. He was immediately brought to the Manila Police District for his testimony. The driver said he is not aware of any threat to Senados. He added that they were traveling their usual route going to the City Hall.
Kasi napagplanuhan nila yun kasi siyempre may blacker sila eh.
The Manila Police has yet to identify the motive behind the killing as well as how many carried out the attack. Initial reports showed that still unidentified suspects used high-powered firearms. Some 7 to 8 bullets were found at the crime scene. In a text message, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said he was shocked by the audacity of the attack, which, quote, highlights the grave peril prosecutors face each day. The DOJ chief has also ordered the National Bureau of Investigation to immediately probe what he called a horrible murder. Sean, the National Union of People's Lawyers denounced the incident, saying that the killing is absolutely unacceptable in a supposed civilized and democratic society. Sean?
Okay, thanks for that update. News 5's Marlene Alcaide joining us live from Manila. And barely a week since the signing of the anti-terror law, protesters are continuing to voice their dissent on the controversial legislation. Demonstrators trooped to UP Diliman armed with masks and placards earlier today. JC Cosico with the report.
Despite COVID-19's looming threat, protesters trooped to the University of the Philippines Diliman on Tuesday morning to contest what they say is an even worse threat than the virus, the anti-terror law. The rallies observed health protocols, maintaining physical distancing and wearing face masks, all while carrying placards seeking to junk what they dubbed as the terror law. Quezon City 6th District Representative Kit Belmonte was present in the march. He says that instead of participating in the crafting of the laws implementing rules, he'd rather be on the streets protesting against it.
Madaming provisions ang batas na to na tumatama sa Constitution, sa civil and political rights natin. Rights of the accused, madaming questionable.
Also present was Bayan Muna Party List Representative Teddy Casino, who reiterated the measure's imminent threat to civil rights.
Talagang delikado ito, no, dahil mapipigilan nito yung mga lehitimong pagpupulong, mga forum, mga discussions ng mga organisasyon na ang layunin ay maglinaw ng mga issue, mapagkaisa ang mamamayan.
Government officials have since taken turns assuring the public that no abuse will spring from the passage of the anti-terror law. In an interview with Radyo 5, Defense Chief Delfin Lorenzana once again appealed to the public to give the law a chance.
Pero hindi naman, bigyan natin ng chance sa itong batas na ito kung may patupad ng law enforcement agencies at saka ng gobyerno. Kasi nagkaroon ng knee-jerk reaction itong kabila at hindi pa nga ito napipirmahan ni Presidente ay nag-iingay na.
NCR Police Chief De Bolsina said they are allowing such protests provided they are done within campus premises. And as always, Sina says maximum tolerance will be observed.
We will just monitor them. As long as they don't get out of the facilities, ay okay lang po. Para po may po silang venue na pwede nilang ilabas yung mga hinaing nila. No? As long as they don't get out of the UP campus. Okay lang po kami doon.
At least 4 petitions questioning the legality of the anti-terror law have been filed at the Supreme Court. The petitions also sought a restraining order against its implementation. The law is set to take effect on July 18. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
And the Supreme Court is asking the government to answer the petitions challenging the constitutionality of the anti-terror law. SC spokesperson Brian Hosaka says the High Court has ordered the consolidation of the 4 petitions for a temporary restraining order or TRO against the measure. Hosaka adds that the SC also required the respondents to submit their respective comments on the petitions within 10 days. And the prices of basic goods and services accelerated for the first time this year in June as the economy slowly reopened after months of lockdown. Inflation climbed to 2.5% in June, up from 2.1% recorded in May, driven mainly by higher transportation costs after public transport was restarted. BSP Governor Ben Diokno said the latest inflation print is still in line with the government's target. And with inflationary pressures remaining subdued, Diokno is urging consumers to ramp up spending.
In this case, nasa crisis tayo. The wrong thing to do ay magtipid. Alam mo kasi, bagsak na nga ekonomiya, magtitipid ka pa, walang pupuntahan yung ekonomiya. Kaya namin nga binaba yung interest rate. Ang daming pera talaga. There's so much liquidity.
And despite the anticipation of a deeper economic downturn in the second quarter, Diokno said that compared to when the Asian financial crisis hit in 1997, the economy is in better shape to weather the pandemic.
Tinamaan tayo. Tinamaan naman buong mundo nitong COVID-19 pandemic, no? Pero tayo, nag-umpisa tayo sa position of strength. Maganda naman ang ekonomiya natin bago tayo tinamaan itong COVID pandemic. So yun talaga estado natin.
The SBP or Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas is still awaiting clear guidelines from the IATF on the resumption of basketball training. During the Philippines Sports Writers Association Forum on Tuesday, SBP Executive Director Sonny Barrios said they will first like to find out the coverage of the IATF's pronouncement. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque on Friday said that basketball and football conditioning practices may now resume.
Importante yung specific implementing guidelines kasi nga baka ma-mislead, for example, ang yung sinasabi mong basketball loving countrymen natin, biglang magsilaruan sa barangay court or street basketball, thinking pwede na, no? Gusto nating siguraduhin na nasa tamang lugar tayo dahil tayo masisita ng authorities na nagpasimuno ng pag-violate ng kanilang regulasyon, no?
For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao, and we are One News.